Hello, my YouTube friends and family. I'm back for a second go today. Because, well, I need to be. Maybe the notification will go out. There it is. Hello, Shannon. Garrett. Logan the Do. Miss Sue. Gail. Hello, Pamela. Yeah, I hate it too, Shannon, but it happens. If Gail hadn't woke me up, I'd have missed it myself. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Isaac. Man, I got the hiccups. Church, I'm going to shoot straight from the hip, would you? This will be popular for some and extremely unpopular for others. So trigger warning now. Hello, Miss Sue. Well, I'm feeling a little bit better. I kept down a little bit of food. I got me one of them barbecue sandwiches from Walmart. I had to go up there and get some medicine. But I got me one of them little barbecue sandwiches, and I've been able to hold down about half of that. And that's the only thing so far in 24 hours. But I am feeling a little bit better. And I'm feeling a little peckish, which is a good thing. If I were to run, I don't want anybody to leave right now. But if I were to run an experiment when just somebody just typed in, hello, Brother Cecil. And I looked and I saw it and I said, such and such, you can leave now. They've done nothing wrong. They've said absolutely nothing wrong. Such and such, you can leave now. Leave now, or I'm going to hide you from the channel. And if such and such leaves and says nothing else in chat, was that person treated fairly? Did I treat that person unfairly? Yeah, I kind of did. They had done nothing wrong, and I treated them completely unfair. They had been given no kind of warning, no kind of nothing. They got treated unfairly. I'm going to use Jesus here because God just showed me how. Well, piece of ice tried to go around the wrong way. When Jesus was on trial, and he was before the chiefs, the scribes, the master rabbi, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, they attacked him with everything that they had. And not one person, not one, said a single word in his defense. Nicodemus, one of the teachers and leaders of the church, had agreed with Jesus on most everything. Several of the others had as well. But no one stood up for Jesus. When Peter was asked, "Aren't you with them?" "No, not me. I don't know that man." Okay, Luke, Logan. They said, "Peter, no, we've seen you with him." And Peter said, "No, you're mistaken. You've not seen me with him." No, we're certain. We saw you with this man named Jesus." And the Bible tells us that he cursed and denied him again, and then the rooster crowed 3 times. No one stood for Jesus. In 1941, the German populace, the Nazi Party, started systematically exterminating the Jewish people. We've seen the footage reels. Some of us have. Some of us are old enough, they taught us that in school. But we've seen the footage reels of where the Jews didn't put up any kind of struggle. They just walked right into the gas chambers and died. By the millions. Auschwitz, Buchenwald, by the millions. And at the end of World War II, the entire world got together and said never again, and brought the Jews back to their homeland, Jerusalem, and reestablished the country of Israel. This did encroach on some Palestinians. More tissue, please. But the Jewish people didn't attempt to kick all the Palestinians off of all their land. They said, we're going to live over here. Y'all live over there. We'll get along. That has not happened. Not since its inception, that has not happened. Israel and Palestine has been at war. And it's because they just don't get along. And that goes all the way back to Sarah and Hagar, Isaac and Ishmael. Goes all the way back. But what everybody forgets is at the end of that story, Isaac and Ishmael, the two brothers, came together to bury their father. People forget that. And they don't want the Jews and the Islamics to get along. Much like here in America, they don't want the blacks and the whites to get along. If we get along, then we realize what they up to. How you doing? But I'm seeing in the 1960s, we decided we were going to be allies with Israel. The entire world is against Israel right now because they're defending themselves against a bunch of terrorists. Israel is saying it's not okay for you to come in here to our country and kill us. But that's not how the Palestinian people see it. They want it all back. You hear them chanting it. From the river to the sea, they want all the land that Israel has. And they want Israel gone. This country made a promise to defend Israel and to stand up for Israel. So did several others. But we've not put one single boot on the ground in defense of Israel. We send them weapons. And what's worse is now we're telling Israel, if you don't listen to what I tell you, you ain't getting no more guns. So now You're saying to the terrorists, it's okay to kill Israel. It's okay. The Jewish population is one of the smallest populations on the planet. When the Philistines stood against the Israelites, no one would stand in defense of Israel. So a little shepherd boy with a sling and a stone says, I'll do it. I'll take him on. I ain't afeared. Because this little shepherd boy named David knew God had his back when nobody else did. And we all know the ending of the story. David won. But on college campuses across the United States today, they're shouting and screaming from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And they're going to take all that back. Right? That's what they're protesting. Honey, these aren't Palestinians that are up there protesting. No, it's not. It's rabble rousers. It's people trying to start trouble and spread hate against the Jews. And the world is falling for it, just like the country of Germany fell for Hitler's bull crap. Now they back on the exterminate the Jews kick. Where is the justice for Israel? Where is the people standing in defense for Israel? They're not. Well, they're going against the Jews right now. I ain't Jewish. That ain't got nothing to do with me. And it is a small percentage of the people that are making the most damn noise to kill the Israelis. And the whole world's jumping on the bandwagon. Ain't got nothing to do with me, preacher. I'm a Christian. I ain't got nothing to do with the Jews. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Because these people are standing up for the religion of Islam. Who do you think they're coming for next, Jack? They got rid of the Jews, they'll get rid of you. Who do you think they're coming for next? That's my opinion. Who do you think they're coming for next? There's no facts based in that, other than historically speaking. When one tiny group get their way over the populace, because it makes the populace seem bullish and uncaring, it emboldens the troublemakers. After 9/11, they shut down every sporting event nationwide. They shut down every sporting event. This entire nation was gripped in fear. I know, I lived it. You were afraid to go to the mall. You were afraid to go to a bookstore. You were afraid to ride a bus, a plane, a train. You were terrified of public transportation. You were scared of everything. And one company, and I don't care if you like them or not, one company World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, said, we're not going to be afraid. We're holding our show. We're not going to be afraid. We're doing this. And they stood up to the terrorists because the terrorists were all in jubilation that they had made the mighty America afraid. And this tiny group of people was in control of a superpower. But when Americans started saying, y'all just gonna have to excuse me, I'm not preaching right now, I'm just giving a fact. When Americans started to say, we've had enough of this bullshit, we're not doing it anymore. I ain't gonna be afraid to go at the grocery store. I ain't gonna be afraid to go at the theater. Well, I'm not gonna be afraid to go to NASCAR. And everybody started standing up saying, you're not gonna make us be afraid. We're taking our country back. And we took it back in 2001. And every race and religion present in this country today stood shoulder to shoulder to the evil and said, not here, you're not. Not here, you're not. Where is that social justice for the Jews today? It can't be found. I'm not saying anything. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Well, I ain't saying nothing. I don't want to be labeled as a racist. I don't want to be labeled as a Zionist. I don't want to be labeled as an extremist. Why are we allowing these few big mouth voices to shout down an entire nation that has pledged its allegiance to stand behind God's chosen people, the Israelis? Why are we allowing that? Why are we letting our politicians get away with it. Why aren't you on the phone? Why aren't you on the computer doing emails? Why aren't you writing letters and mailing them in? Why aren't you on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok making a formal stand with Israel against the terrorists that seek to destroy them? Why aren't you contacting your members of representatives in Congress? Why aren't you contacting your senators? Why aren't you contacting your president and your vice president? Why aren't you speaking up? Because it has nothing to do with you, right? It might not now, but there's a good chance it will tomorrow. And tomorrow will be too late. Y'all don't understand how this thing works. You don't understand it. No one stood for Jesus, and there was plenty of people that could. And Jesus was put to death. That was God's plan. I fully understand that. No one stood up against Hitler until Hitler started pressing in on their nerves. Hitler took Poland. Nobody really cared. Hitler took some other countries. Nobody really cared. Nobody gave a damn about Hitler until he slapped the piss out of England. Then the whole world got on it, didn't they? Because big bad England had been attacked. Oh, we got to put an end to this. We can't have this. No one stood up against Germany until England got involved in it. And then America still tried to stay out of it. And we were sworn allies with England. You know, I seem to recall in 1778, when the Americans had pushed the English back to the sea, the English had no intent of surrender. They were going to pull back out in the ocean, rebuild their forces, and then come back twice as strong. And it was a little country. What was their name? Everybody makes fun of them a lot. France. It was a little country named France. The French Navy, they blockaded and wouldn't let them leave. They said, no. You wanted to fight? Go fight. You're not going to run. No. We're going to eat baguettes and snails. You go back and fight. And Lord Cornwallis went, crap, I got to surrender. And he did. But this country didn't become a country by itself. It had the aid of France. But when France fell to the Germans, no one stood for France. But France had stood for us, didn't they? On 9/11, the Jews stood for us. The whole world did. But when God's chosen people get attacked, it's from the river to the sea. They want to all kill them all. Kill them all, kill them all, kill them all. Do away with them, kill them all. Be done with it. Stick a fork in them, honey, they done. No. And on this channel, this preacher will never stand against Israel. Not ever. I will never agree with Islam. I will never agree with Hinduism, Buddhism, none of it. I'll never agree to anything other than my belief in Jesus Christ. And if that's not good enough for you, too bad. You kiss the raw side of my backside. I don't care. But I'm not ashamed. And I have written my representatives, my senators, the vice president, and the president, telling them all just that. It's high time that these 537 people in Washington, D.C., 537 people, you don't know that's how many people run you? That's how many people run you. 537. How you figure? There's 435 members of the House of Representatives. There's 100 senators. That's 400. That's 535 right there. The vice president and the president. 537 people. They run you. They own you. Lock, stock, and barrel. They own you. How this country and its millions of people, 335 million to be exact, let 537 people destroy our lives, I'll never know. But we line up in the soup bowl, in the soup line, with our bowl out going, "Can I have some more, sir? More? You want more?" "Yes, sir, please." And when you say something about it, when you say something about what they're doing, they hit you with a stick. And instead of hitting them back, you lay down on the ground and you say, "Please don't hit me with that stick no more, massa. I don't want to get put back in chains. Please don't hit me with that stick no more, massa." And no, I'm not mocking black people. That's every single American. Please don't hit me with that stick no more. Each one of us are like Kuna Kente, strapped up on the post, and they beat you until you tell them what they want to hear. Tell me I'm lying. You think I'm kidding, don't you? Y'all think I'm joking? How many of you in here are on Social Security? How many of you in here on Medicare and Medicaid? How many of you on food stamps? All you are is a slave to the U.S. government. Do you understand that? I'm on Social Security. I get Medicare. I'm just like the rest of you. I ain't no difference. But you're a slave to the United States government. No, I'm not. I'm my own person. Really? They ain't got you living on a welfare plantation? They can snatch your Medicare. They can snatch your Medicaid. They can cancel your Social Security. They can cancel your food stamps and leave you with nothing. They can do that. What are you going to do about it? You can't go down there and force them to give it to you. The only thing at our disposal, short of an out and out revolution, is your vote. You can vote them out of office. We got 55,000 homeless veterans in this country today. It's got no place to sleep, no food to eat, nowhere to go at the bathroom, nowhere to take a shower, and no food to nothing. They got nothing. 55,000 homeless veterans today. But that ain't what President Biden talked about today. He talked about all the help that's going to be given to the illegal immigrants. And before any of you come at me over immigration, heaven has walls and heaven has gates. What did Jesus say? Straight is the way and narrow is the gate, and few there be that find it. The only way to the Father is through Him. And the only way through Him is to do it the right way. We here in America aren't saying you aren't welcome in our country. We're saying we have borders for a reason. Come through the gate like everybody else. And do it the right way. Come on in. We're open to any and everybody. Come on in. I need one of them knee scooters. Knee walker, they call it. Put it under your knee to keep your foot up off the floor and not put any weight on your foot at all. My insurance don't cover it. I went by the medical supply place in town. They want $450 for one. You out your mind. I didn't pay but $1,000 for one I can sit down on and ride. And you want me to give $450 for a skateboard? Kiss my foot. But I can't get it. So I got to keep fighting the pain and the healing process and take boatloads and boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of medication, spend boatloads and boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of money on dressings because I can't afford what I need. But you let an illegal need one. They got it right now for nothing. And never supported the government in not any way, shape, form, or fashion. but you're going to hand them a check. And we're sitting back and we're saying nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it. We're allowing those 537 people in Washington, D.C. to destroy your life and this entire nation, and you're being quiet. I'm sorry, folks, but you're a Jew being led into the gas chamber right now because you don't want to be labeled a racist or a bigot or a Zionist or a zealous. Let me tell you something, and I mean this. I mean it today, and I'll mean it again tomorrow. I would rather stand with God and be judged by the entire world than to stand with the world and be judged by God. What do you think the conversation between the Heavenly Father and Nicodemus was like when he come up for his time for judgment? What do you think that conversation was like? Seriously, what do you think that conversation was like? I don't think it was very pleasant for Nicodemus, because Nicodemus sat under the teachings of Jesus and didn't stand at his defense. A woman walks into a church and takes a seat on the front row. She's wearing a short skirt, a fairly revealing top, and she's sitting there. She's listening intently. And the preacher interrupts his own service. And he says, "Ma'am, I want you, when service is over, I want you to go home and I want you to think about how you're dressed in the house of God today. I want you to pray and ask God what God would have you wear to church, and then you come back next Sunday." She did as he asked, came back, wearing the same outfit, sat down, and he stopped again. "Didn't I tell you to pray and ask God what to wear? Now you're going to have to leave. And you go home and you pray and you ask God what you should wear to this church. Get out." And not a single person in this church stood in her defense. Nobody. Nobody stood in her defense. And when she returned the next Sunday, she was wearing the same outfit. And the preacher stopped the service before it ever got started. And he said, "Stand up. Did you pray to God?" "Yes, I did." Did you pray until he talked back to you? Yes, I did. Did you ask him what you should wear to this church service? She said, yes, I did. And what did God tell you? God told me he didn't know. He had never been here before. God said he don't know because he ain't never been in your church before. Wow. That story always humbles me. But no one stood up in the defense of this lady because it didn't affect her. You know, Jesus stood up for you against the wages of sin, death, and eternal damnation, against an enemy called Satan. He was already in heaven. It didn't have nothing to do with him, but he stood up for you. You need to stand up for those that are being mistreated around you. Stop worrying about what other folks are going to say and start doing something about it. I love you guys, not nearly as much as God, but I love y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, I'll see y'all on Monday. Love you. Bye now.